welcome to BarTalk episode
8.
Oh shit, I thought it was 7.
No, it's 8.
Oh my god, 8 weeks.
Episode 8. I know. What has happened to us? We actually became real life podcasters.
Real life. 2 months in. We've got everything going on. We've got the camera set up. We've got TikTok live on here right now. We got like 4 listeners on TikTok live.
Yeah. So I think that if this works well, depending on whatever. I'm so loud right now, whatever. I'll fix it later. But if you are hearing this or seeing this podcast and you want to see it live, maybe I should do this more often and put it up there and just kind of like let it go.
Yeah, we'll probably do live episodes where all we do is interact with you guys.
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh,
like,
wait,
right
we got
now,
a comment?
Because like right now, I mean, the thing is it's kind of really far away, so we can't really see anybody on TikTok live or like what they're saying. So in a perfect
whatever you
world,
guys are saying, man, we'll see it later.
Yeah, we'll see it later. But
okay, we got
in
an
a perfect
episode.
World, I could like link it up to a different screen, and you'll be able to see like, you know, like that's what I was talking about. Like if you hook it up to a different screen and it's right here, you just kind of like do the whole cast situation, that you can see it bigger. So
yeah,
then people can see us live, and then they can also see us.
Yeah, we'll be like professionals for real.
Whatever. We'll be like professionals.
But we're not there yet. We can't even get through a damn episode without our camera getting exhausted.
Dude, we've
Battery?
got through 1 full episode so far. So
we just
cross
can't
your
talk.
fingers that this one works.
We just can't talk as long as we want to.
I know. It's
We get like an hour and then it cuts off. It's like, you're done.
Yeah.
You're done.
And it doesn't even say like it actually turns off. It says battery exhausted.
Yeah, whatever.
So, whatever.
Okay, so Tracey just got back from Palm Beach. She got back from the rich bitch place in Florida.
God.
She competed in her Deca Fit.
Deca Fit.
I confuse all of them. The mile feels like it should be the longest, but it's not.
No.
The Deca Fit's the longest.
Yeah, because it's 500 meters in between, so it's actually 5K by the time that you're done.
That sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucked. No, okay, I'm a liar. It was awesome.
So let's talk about how you feel you did in terms of your actual event. Okay. And then let's talk about kind of what afterwards, how the weekend went with Deca. Right, just being able to
about it,
just talking to people, the event, the networking, everything. So start with your event itself.
So the event itself and how I did was not how I would like to perform. I guess in the grand scheme of things, like overall, and I guess this is why like every single time somebody asks me this,
get this
like,
mic up,
huh?
Speak in. You gotta speak into it. No, you're not.
Oh, my bad. Hello?
You're the bottom one.
Sorry. Hi. Okay.
We're 8 episodes in. We don't know what the frick's going on.
It's really loud on my ears, so I thought it was like right up close.
No, that's
I'm
me.
Shit.
I'm loud.
Oh, all right. I'll fix it later. Damn. Okay. In the grand scheme of things, and when I say that I had a shitty weekend and people are like, well, you got 3rd place, it's like, first of all, let's back up a second. I only really trained, 3 weeks?
Yeah,
and it was 1 Deca workout per week, basically.
Because you're really training for Spartans right now, so we kind of programmed you to train for Spartans. Like, it's not like training for Spartans going to completely derail you from Deca, but like that's our focus. Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. I mean, I had our sprinting days, you know what I'm saying, and we're all threshold days, let's say, and we had days that would obviously help me in Deca, but like we're still on the come up from when I got sick. Like I feel like right now is when I'm in my groove again.
You just started feeling good like a week ago. I just
started feeling good.
Yeah.
So in all training wise, I feel like I wasn't as prepared as I would be, but honestly I'm okay with that because it wasn't my main focus anyway. Like my main focus is to get prepped for Nashville, which is next month. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like I wasn't too mad about it. And then I took 3rd at the event, but like in the grand scheme of things, I sucked. Like my time sucked.
Yeah, your time was,
it was like 47. The goal was to get under 40. Let's just put it like that. Like my goal going into it was to get under 40 because it would have put me as a qualifier. And I feel that if I was at my full potential, I could have got a 40. Like I could have, like the stations weren't hard, the zones, like 1 through 10. That's not what was hard. The hardest part for me was the transition from the zones into the running part because running is always my weakest field. And just right now, it's just been the hardest thing to pick up since I've been having some shit go on with my lungs, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I just feel like kind of the layback of not having enough preparation for it, plus throwing myself into it and like being hyped up with my friends and stuff, I guess I don't know, I didn't do my best. And also, I was talking to Drew about this the other day. The way that they held the DECA event was so much different than a regular Spartan. Like, my adrenaline was not there at all. Because basically what they did is, if you picture a regular Spartan race or like any real race that I guess you would run age group wise, you run with the people that you're competing against, right? So let's say you're in my heat and you're running with me. We're in the same crowd. We go off at like 7 o'clock in the morning, right? Well, I'm literally running with you. So if you're 200 meters in front of me, I can see you in my eyesight. I'm going to have like that much of a boost to be like, I got to get my ass in gear so I can catch up to you, or I can pick you up on one of these zones, or I can pick up on you on the run or something like that. This was, people were spread out all over the place. So there was people that ran before me and there was people that ran after me. In my age group that weren't even in the same starting time as me. So I was out there running by myself. And like, how do you expect to run well by yourself when you're competing?
Right. It should feel like a competition.
Right. It
shouldn't feel like a time trial. It shouldn't feel like a time trial.
Right. Like, it felt like a competition with myself. And just like, for me mentally, I can't do that.
And you lost.
I'm like, this is not okay. Like, I'm like out there. I'm like boot scooting around. Barry and Stefano, my husband, said that I looked like I was pulling like a bunny shuffle run.
Yeah.
And I guess because I was just super tense and uptight and I was right here like with my hands the whole time, I was like pulling this weird shuffle motion. But also I was like,
hey,
I'm like, I was out there having a great time. Like, and I'm out there like supposed to be competing for a great time. And my friends are like the people that are judging these zones. So I'm like going up to zone 3. A great friend of mine is on the boxes.
Like,
I'm like, yo, what's up? Let's do this. You know, like, I was kind of shooting the shit a little bit, you know?
You weren't as serious.
I mean, like, I just mentally couldn't get there because I was racing by myself. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you also have this thing, too, where you freaking always get in your head and you go out kind of hard and then you pull it in, like, way too much because you get scared that you can't keep it. And then you finish hard because you realize that you have the energy that you fucking trained for.
Right. And I'm like, shit. Like, the first couple zones came out the gate, I was hot. I was ready. I like got done zone 1, zone 2, zone 3 are like my jam. Like, you know, the lunges, the rower, and the step overs. I'm like,
and the runs were fine too.
Yeah, they were fine.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, you know, you get to zone 4, which is your sit up throws, which for some reason were like way harder than I expected. I guess.
Really?
Yeah. I have no idea why. They're sit up throws.
Right.
And for some reason they like just derailed my shoulders. I like came out of that gate like, you know, trying to like wiggle my shoulders
bunny
around.
hopping.
Yeah, like run. Started a little bunny hop situation. And then after that I ran a couple piss poor laps. And then getting into zone 9 and into zone 10, my laps were good.
Yeah.
Like I was like, all right, this is the end.
Like 4 through 8
I have all this
were
gas
rough.
left.
But like 4 through 8 were just no.
Yeah, I had so much gas left by the time that I was done. I like got done, felt like shit. 30 seconds later, I pop up. I'm like, let's do it again. Like, I was so, like, it was just so.
This always happens.
I know. And then I was really upset, and Mitzi got mad at me, our gym mom, because I ended up getting third. And the third to me was so.
You were pissed, honestly, about the third kind of.
I was like, I did not want to step on that podium. Yeah. And I've never felt like that before. Like, I was like, this is embarrassing. Like, I did shit. There was plenty of people there that competed, you know, like there was plenty of people there to go up against, but I just personally didn't feel like it was justified for me to get third place. Like that third place should have been given to somebody who really did try their best and got a 47, and that was a PR for them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
and
I feel like
it was like after fucking off a little bit and like having some weird mental.
Like a part of me felt like, damn, I took that spot from somebody. A part of me felt like, shit, I should have just ran the fucking open.
You didn't take the spot from anybody.
I know.
That's bullshit.
I wasn't all there. Like if I would have ran it well, I would have been warranted that third place.
Right. And that's what I texted you. I said, just be proud of your run and you'll be fine. And you finished and you're like, I wasn't proud of my run.
I wasn't proud of my run at all. I ran like trash.
Well, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just.
Spartan is the focus. So it's like eyes should be on Nashville.
Yeah. And that I am mentally preparing for. I will podium in Nashville. I'm manifesting.
Dude, if you actually realize that you deserve to be first, you would get first. That's the thing that like kind of kills me with you is for you. You have I'll look at I'm your coach. I look at your split times. Like, I see your runs, and I see what you're doing every workout.
I'm not half bad.
I'm going to punch you in the throat. I see what you're doing, and I see what you're capable of, and then you'll go out on race day, and you'll tank yourself for some reason.
I know.
And so it's like, for us, I mean, if there's ever a 2-day race, you always do better on day 2. Because you feel like you know the course.
Because I feel like I could do better on a longer run right now. Like, with the way that I've trained.
Oh, yeah.
I should be able to do better on a 10K.
Yeah, but as of, and I mean, I'm talking about in the past, though. You'll always, like, historically, if you have the same race 2 days, like that time you ran the 5K 2 days.
Oh, yeah. The second
you
day
did
was great.
so much better.
Dude, I ran like 5 minutes faster the second day.
You beat 5 minutes PR. Are you fucking shitting me?
Literally.
Like
that's pretty big. That's pretty substantial.
That's
from
amazing.
Day 1, day 2. Like,
yeah, that's a great time. So my thing is, like, when you realize that you can do it on the first race and you're confident in your runs and your ability to understand when you really need to slow down and when you can push.
Yeah. And
you understand exactly how proficient you are on those obstacles because you've had a clean race like the past 4 races.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I ran 2 back-to-back. I ran back-to-back weekends, or I'm sorry, back-to-back races, I should say, the same weekend each time. So it's like 8 races in a row.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, it's been pretty good. Knock on wood.
Yeah, so
manifesting national.
Realize that you're fucking good. I feel like I'm pep talking my athlete out here.
She's pep talking me, but I do. It's a fault that I have. It's a little bit of a mental block, I would say, you know, and. To a certain degree, like Spartan's kind of the same way where you like lose people for a little bit. But like I said, if there was people running with me in DECA, I probably would have done a little bit better, even though I wasn't as prepared for it, just like, you know, fit wise or physically, whatever. But all in all, the weekend was so badass. Like, I really wish you were there just to kind of see it. Mm-hmm. Like, it is such a, like, those types of weekends, even though I did shit, was so fun because, like, I know so many people that you see. Like, I know people from FitZone and Get a Core, and I know people from Knoxville. Like, I know people from, you know, down even further south in Florida. And, like, even if I just get to see them for 5 minutes, them plus my team being there competing, that's what makes that weekend for me.
Yeah.
You know, especially in a DECA because I run the events at Momentum. And, like, seeing all the people and, like, seeing them compete and, like, seeing me coach them and seeing how they do is, like, that's what gets me going in a DECA
it's rewarding.
Race. Yeah, that's, like, super rewarding.
Well, and you also, man, we had a couple people you were saying that actually knew about BarTalk.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple of you guys, if you're watching, thanks for telling me. Like, literally, they came up to me and they were like, dude,
that makes our day.
BarTalk.
That makes our day.
It really does. Because, like, to be honest with you, when we first started this, we were like, nobody's going to watch this shit. We just think that we're funny.
I know. And now we're like, we're going to be the most successful podcast in the world. Manifest.
Put on the oils. Let's manifest this shit.
My sister's so cute. She's like the most supportive sister, Leah. She was talking and she was giving us advice on our podcast and she was like, yeah, and when you guys get big. And I was like, oh, I love that. Oh. Yeah, she's like, when you guys get big, you'll want to make sure people, you know, you can communicate in a way where people far, far away who don't actually know you personally will know what's going on. You know, so she's giving us advice, but she was just like, when you guys get big.
Oh,
and my mom was like, hell yeah, when you guys get
I remember, like, and I mean, I know it's only episode 8, but literally the first episode that we did, we watched it back when we were here and we were like, whoa, 1, this is chaotic as shit. Mm-hmm. And 2, we were like, I don't give a fuck if anybody doesn't watch us. We think we're funny.
Yeah, and like, actually
this is hysterical.
I look back at the first episode, I'm like, that's too much. We had jitters. It was like, we didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know where to look. We didn't know Nothing worked. Everything sucked. And it was like, but it was so cool because it was like, we were just doing it. And it was like, this is so fun because we're yelling into mics. We have no idea what's going on.
The audio, like, I had to literally pull the audio up
so
and like
bad.
The back end of editing because it was just so bad. We were talking into the wrong sides of the microphones.
I think we were just talking wherever we wanted to talk.
The wrong way. Like, it was a mess, but here we are. So thanks for listening, guys. If you saw me at DECA, that was super fun.
Yeah, you got to run OCR report. You got to do the live for that.
Yeah, I did. The OCR report. So Yancey, which is the director of DECA, like all things DECA, used to work with Jared, but Jared's not there anymore. Yancey's the head guy. I guess there was somebody from the OCR report that was supposed to be doing the live feed, and then they ended up not being able to. And there's a couple podcasts out there that always have the details of the events that are going on. So like OCR report, Obstacle Course Racing Media, and Insider OCR, I think it is. Those are like the top 3 that I watch all the time to see the current results or like the live feed results. And the OCR report is always the ones that do the elites live on their Instagram. So I'm always watching them like week to week. And somebody was there in the morning that was going to do the elites, the individual elites. And I guess they just needed more help or whatever. So Yancey was so funny. He like came up to me. Literally, I'm running the event. Like I'm running the individual event by myself. And I'm like in that weird motion where I'm like starting to die, type of area. And I remember I was going into zone 5 and Yancey's running next to me. And he's like trying to talk to me. And I was like, you got to catch me in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. I was like, I can't even respond. I don't know what you're saying to me right now. It's going in one ear out the other. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
So he starts laughing. He ran the whole lap with me. And then he dropped me off with the ski and he's like, see you in a few. And I was like, bye. Here I am like sweating my ass off. I look like shit. And so he came and found me after the race. And he was just like, oh, good job, whatever. And then he's like, I have a question for you. He's like, you're the only person in this whole facility that I know to ask this question. Like, can you do the live feed for the OCR report? So I was like, yeah, fuck it. Why not? So I was the person that was behind the Instagram live.
I saw the live. I was on BarTalk and I saw OCR report went live. And I was like, I wonder if I'll see Tracey's face just in the background. And I hear her voice behind the phone. And I was like, what the hell? And so I'm on the BarTalk and I'm like, Tracey, with like the question exclamation point, and she doesn't respond. And I'm like, no, that's definitely Tracey. And she's definitely running the freaking live right now. And so I'm like blowing it up with like hearts and 100s and hearts like you guys should be doing right now on the live.
Right,
I'm
on
just
the
saying.
Live feed. No, but like it was actually a lot of fun. And let me tell you something. I did the live feed for the teams. That shit is so lit. Like, if there was a whole day of team DECA competitions, it would be so badass.
I'd be tired just watching. It would
be so cool. I mean, think about it. Like, you do the individual DECA by yourself. You're gassed the entire time, right? Now you're with a partner. So now you have, like, that extra push to do well for your partner.
Yeah.
Plus, you get to do the zones however you want to with your partner as long as they're done. So if you did half, like, let's say you did half a zone 5, which would be 200 meters, 250 meters for each person, and you got that shit done, you would be even more gassed at that 250 than you would be for an average 500 because your adrenaline's pumping, you're working with your partner, you have a small amount of rest to like, pick you back up really quick.
Who runs?
Well, you and your partner have to run zone 1 together and you have to run zone 10 together.
Okay.
So coming out the gate, you have to run together, and then going back into zone 10,
but you get to split up the runs however you want.
However you want.
So somebody could essentially, like, I could do all of the zone obstacles, and you could do all of the runs.
Yeah. So I want to say
let's do it.
I want to say his first name is Ryan. Ryan. His last name is Corning. He's from Get It Core Fitness. Did the air bike in 17 seconds.
You're not serious.
25 calories in 17 seconds.
No.
It was fucking incredible.
That's not possible.
Oh, no. It was the best thing I've ever seen. Like, we have it on tape. Saw it on the live feed. It was fucking insanity.
That's not possible.
It was awesome. And then his partner
what
did all
bike do
the
they
runs.
have? They have different bikes than we got.
They still suck. The assault bikes, I will say, are a little bit easier with how the motion is, because with a rogue bike, you're literally, there's just no way for you to be on a rogue bike where you're not actually sitting on it like an actual bike. The handles are like right here, so you're like pushing into your traps. You're at this weird like 90-degree angle with your elbows.
It's clunky.
Super clunky. And if you stop for a second, the whole bike stops.
Yeah.
So like, just if you go to catch your breath for 1 second or you happen to misstep on your footing, you're over. But on the assault bike, the wheel keeps turning and they have it where it counts down, so it's a lot easier to see. So it counts down your calories instead of counting up, which always just mentally, screws with you. And you can sit higher. So now you're really pushing on it like an actual bike.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's the same thing. Like, it equally sucks, but how the bike is made is different.
Okay.
That's why I like it.
We don't have our fucking light on.
Oh, shit.
Do you want to turn that on real quick? It's going to get dark.
Yeah. Maybe I should. Okay, hold on a second.
We cannot get through one damn episode.
Listen, it's the unfiltered cast. It is what it is. Let's see. Finally a good foot. Who said that? Who is that? Pat from NJ.
Oh no.
Who are you? Pat
And
from NJ.
ooh,
All right, let's see.
I think it's one other one. No,
No.
that's it. Leave it there.
one?
Yes, don't touch it.
I'm not touching anything.
All right. We're back. We actually have okay, well,
All right, can you see this better now?
I
Is this
should
right?
well, we're on. We're good.
Ba-da-ba-da. Ba-na-na-na.
Okay.
Da-da-da-da.
So she has a whole ass
Da-da-da.
cold brew. Actually, can I have a sip of that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Listen, I needed caffeine. I was having a little bit of a time at Publix, and I said,
Is that
"Fuck it."
sweetened? Oh, I was like,
Yeah,
hello.
really good. It's the good stuff. Yeah.
Ooh, that gulp probably. We got some ASMR going on.
No, just kidding.
Okay.
It'll be the worst ASMR.
So we talked about Palm Beach. My weekend was I just went to a wedding and
Yeah, you went to a wedding though.
yeah.
You got
That
suited
dress
up, you
was
looked
so
beautiful.
cute, girl.
You catch us like dressing up every once in a while. It's like a real pleasure because we never do it.
It's a real treat
It's a real treat.
for the fans.
For real. Like Abigail dressed up. She looked beautiful. I think, was it green?
Yeah, it was like a
Green's
very
your color.
dark
I loved it.
ivy green,
Loved it.
velvet, slit up the side, ruching, halter neck action
Yeah.
with some strappy lace-up gold
It was
heels.
so cute. She looked great. Phenomenal. Had a good time. Did you drink
thank
any?
God Cameron was there because he was helping me walk.
Did you?
Did I
wow.
what?
You drank?
I drank a little bit, but no, it wasn't because I drank. It's just those heels are like fucking
Oh, well,
intense, and you know how I am. I don't wear heels. I wear Jesus sandals or barefoot.
yeah, true.
So,
All right. Well,
We're
because of all of that, let's talk about what we're actually supposed to talk about today.
yeah, so we're talking about we got a little vote on my Instagram to talk about how to structure your training program. I should have been a little bit more specific in asking like what kind of program, like a Gen Pop program, an endurance, OCR, strength. So we'll kind of talk about, I guess, just the fundamentals of how to structure a program, and then we'll probably go a little bit more in depth about Gen Pop and a little bit more in depth about endurance.
Yeah, because that's
Like an
kinda
endurance
like what we
athlete,
do.
which I feel like, that's probably our audience.
Yeah. I mean, even if you don't want to go like too deep into it, maybe we can just kind of say like where to start and where to lead yourself almost.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, okay,
We
so
both
if you were
I could say this, we both think the same about the Gen Pop question. If you were the average
Yeah, Gen
person
Pop,
that
well,
just needs
let's-
to know.
So Gen Pop, we'll start there. Gen Pop, how to structure your training program is essentially do anything, and then do that anything that you decide to do consistently for like 6 to 8 weeks, and you'll probably get stronger at it. So, if the movement hurts you, if you know you're doing sucky at the movement, it's probably not a great movement. Find things that you can do well after a couple of weeks. Like the first couple of weeks for Gen Pop, like if you're just trying to work on your fitness and you're going in 4 times a week, 5 times a week, and you just want to like look good, feel good, and you're newer at the gym, man, you choose any 6 to 8 exercises that you can do fairly well after like a week or 2 of practice,
Or you're familiar with at least.
or that you're familiar with, and crush those for like 8 weeks. It doesn't have to be anything pretty. It doesn't have to be like the exact right order. I think that's something that's so... I'm going on a rant. Hold on. Let me begin. let me
I think that's so.
let me I'm finding my zone.
Rewind.
You guys
Rewind.
you guys are gonna lose me and you're not gonna find me again. Okay. So I think that people are getting a little bit too caught up in the minutia of training programming and how to build a program, and it's happening in the online fitness space. And this is actually my problem with the online fitness space, and we'll do a whole episode about it. Is coaches are now talking to other coaches, which if that's your audience, that's great. But if it's not your audience, you need to talk to your clients. And so everyone gets caught up in the like line of angle pull in the correct way, the correct order. And that's great as a coach. I think you should study that. I think you should know it. I think you should learn it. But I got pretty freaking jacked doing weird shit in the gym. Like I got
is key.
Right. I got like I got pretty in shape just doing exercises pretty intensely and going every day.
Yeah. Well, I think like especially like a lot of people that ask the question is like how to program. I would say like 75% of those people are relatively new or don't necessarily know what they're programming for. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's like, don't pay attention so much to the order of the exercises or actually what the exercises are doing. Pay attention to what you can stay consistent with. Mm-hmm. It's like, what can you do on a weekly basis that will keep you moving? Mm-hmm. Because if you can't stay moving, then what the hell do you give a shit about what you're training for? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you really care if you can't even stay consistent 3 times a week?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or like, what do you really care about the order of your exercises and how they're going to have you progress over time if you can't even do that exercise once a month?
You can have the best program in the world, but if you're not going to show up to perform it and to do it well, then you might as well throw it in the garbage. Mm-hmm. It's not a program.
Yeah.
It's a suggestion. Mm-hmm. You know, so find exercises that you actually kind of like, right? For some people, structuring your program, especially people who are just getting into the gym and they don't know what to do and they're scared and they're insecure and they're whatever, find a freaking dark corner.
Yeah.
And just strap on, do some stuff with some cables for like 30 minutes and leave. And if that's what like allows you to come in and feel comfortable and be like, I did that thing and I'm going to be able to come back tomorrow and do that thing again, then that right there is a win.
Yeah, I was messaging somebody on Instagram actually the other day too. Like, just some girl hit me up in my DMs and was like, I don't even know where to start. And she's like, obviously I can't train her in person. She's like not even from Florida. But I was just like, if you can get to the gym 3 times a week and you do full body, you can't go wrong right now because you've never been in the gym before. You're unfamiliar with almost everything that is there. If you're unfamiliar with asking somebody for help, then pick like 1 or 2 of everything and go in there with confidence that you will hit every body part and just be consistent for a couple weeks hitting full body and then maybe tailor into something else. Because if you do full body and you're just moving a couple times a week and you're staying consistent, you're not really going wrong.
No, because it's better than the 0 times a week you were doing before. And you're building a routine. For people who are super new, because that's kind of what we're on right now, I really honestly suggest getting a trainer. Yeah. Getting a decent trainer. You could even pull up, I say pull up one of those basic programs from online because they're not good, but a lot of them, it doesn't matter. It just means movement, which is good. But why I say I think you need a trainer is because have somebody that can watch what you're doing, because that's people who are new. That's why they hire a trainer usually. Those are the people that come to me and they say, hey, I really need you for this XYZ amount of time. Because I don't feel comfortable doing movements that I have 0 clue how to do, that I've never done in my life. I mean, there are some people that just have gone their whole lives and they haven't really been active. Mm-hmm. So movement is hard. Like they have no body awareness. So for new people, a trainer doesn't have to be like a lifelong financial commitment. It can be an investment that can be very beneficial for you, and then in turn lead to you having lifelong confidence in the gym and a sustainable program to follow for yourself.
Yeah.
For people who are not new, who maybe have made progress and they've sort of either begun to stall or maybe their training goals are shifting and they're like, I don't know how to go from here. I mean, again, you can just get a trainer. Mm-hmm. Or we'll go into a couple of things. So the basics for any program, you have to look at a few things. Last week, we talked about that beach house model. You have the sleep, you have the nutrition. Those are your stilts. In the house, right? Sleep and nutrition, like, get them down.
Number 1 priority.
Seriously.
Say it that way.
In the house, you have volume, intensity, duration, frequency. I might be missing a couple things. Those are the big ones. And those are the things that fill your program. and they kind of add all the detail and the beauty and the perfection to the house that you're building. Okay? So when you're going into a lifting session, you have to think, how many times a week do I want to do this? What's my frequency? Mm-hmm. And that's usually what is realistic for you to be able to go and do in the gym. And then how can I put my volume, right, the amount of sets I do of each body part throughout the week, how do I lay that out throughout the week that works best for me? For some people, they love to do the body part split where they do like legs once a week and they just smash the legs and they don't see it again until next Monday.
Yeah.
And that works for some people. That does not work for other people. Some people
split into two.
Right. Some people like to do an upper lower split where the volume is essentially spread across a frequency of 2 times per week. So you have all of your legs, quads, hamstrings, glutes, calves, right, on 2 separate days out of the week. And then same with upper body, back, chest, shoulders, bis, tris, all of that on 2 other separate days of the week. Mm-hmm. And that's the upper lower. Then there's like the push, pull, legs. So upper push, upper pull, which upper push is like bench. It'd be like shoulders. So shoulders, chest, triceps. Pull would be back, biceps. And then legs, which is all your lower body.
Which would be a separate day.
Yeah, that's a separate day. And those can be hit either one time for a 3-day a week, or it can be hit twice and you'd have a 6-day a week training program. So that kind of covers what frequency and what volume is, right? Frequency is how many times you want to hit the body part during the week. And then volume is how many sets do you want to do in your week in total, and then how do you want to split that up with the frequency you've set up. Mm-hmm. So let's say it's like, which usually the literature says like 10 to 20 working sets per body part per week. So that means I'm going to do 10 hard sets of quads during the week, okay? I'm going to do legs. Let's say I do the upper lower split. So I'm going to do legs twice. So that means I need 5 sets of quads in each workout. Or you can do freaking 2 sets of quads in one and 8 sets in another. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to split up those 10 working sets, those 10 hard sets on my quads between 2 sessions. Okay? Then you have to think about reps. How many reps do I want to do those things? I wouldn't pay too much attention to reps. Like, if you want to grow and, like, look good, I think what's the literature? It's like 5 to 30 reps. So it's like, if your joints hurt, go higher rep. If your joints feel good and you want to feel strong as shit, go a little lower rep. That's general advice for reps.
Please not with the same weight, though. You said please not with the same weight that you would do in a
Oh, no.
lower
Yeah, go.
range.
Oh, God, no. And then intensity. There we go. We're going into intensity.
Like,
Volume
don't
and
forget about that.
Volume and intensity is inversely related, inversely proportional. So like as your volume increases, right? So if I do reps of 15, my intensity, my loading has to be lower.
Right.
By like the laws of nature and God.
Right.
Okay. If I do 5 reps, I will be able to load more weight on the machine, the bar, with the dumbbells, whatever, than I would for those 15 reps. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's where you figure out your intensity. Then there's, here we go. Then there's where
you gotta have it going.
I'm trailing.
Tangent,
then there's perceived intensity, which is what everyone calls like RPE or RIR, which is like RPE is like rate of perceived exertion. It's how hard you feel like you went. Right. They also have that in endurance training, which is like 8 to 20, which is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Just do 1 to 10.
No, I was just about to say, just do 1 to 10.
Why do they do 8 to 20?
It doesn't make any sense.
No. Anyways,
your zone
I learned
ranges
that
are
in
1
school.
through 5. Your RPE is 1 through 10. It's that simple. It's really not that hard.
I know. I learned that in school.
It's really not that hard.
They're like, you start at 8 and you go to 20. I'm like, I'm at a 13.
Yeah, or like you do some CrossFit workout and they say like your RPE range is from 10 to 20 and you're like, what the fuck? Like you need to stay like 6 to 8. That's it.
Right.
Like,
so
it's not that serious.
Just RP, think 1 is like, that's the easiest shit I've ever done in my life. And think 10, I'm about to pass out. I cannot get another rep.
10, you should not be able to hold more than 30 seconds. That's what I say to people.
Oh, for an endurance. For lifting, it's like, I can't get another rep.
Right.
Another rep is not happening.
That's maximal. Absolute maximal.
Yeah. Or an RP 10, there's also technical RP 10, which is like, if I do another rep, my form is going to crumble underneath me and I could hurt myself. That's also an RPE 10, technically speaking. So, we've covered a lot. But basically, find your frequency. How many days a week do you want to work out and how do you want to split up what body parts you hit? with that frequency. It's recommended you do like 2 to 3, and honestly, from what I found, about 2 to 3 frequency is pretty solid.
Yeah, and when she says like find what you want as far as like upper lower or push pull legs split, it's what works for you.
Yes.
Like not meaning like you should do one or the other. You should not be in a push pull upper lower split, right? Like pick one and stay with it. And if it doesn't work for you, then
adjust.
Come back to basics and redo it. But when she says pick which one, she's saying pick which one works for you to stay consistent with. Just to clarify.
Yeah. So then you decide that. You figure out now, how am I going to feel? Okay, so I have my frequency. I know what body parts I should be training. How do I fill my sets? Right? You figure out what exercises work your quads pretty good, what exercises work your hamstrings pretty good, what exercises work your glutes pretty good. We're talking about a lower body day, for example. And you put the amount of sets you think is necessary. So if you want to do 10 working sets of quads, hamstrings, and glutes per week, okay, per week, you're going to do, let's say, 5 sets of quads, hamstrings, and glutes on one day, and 5 sets of quads, hamstrings, and glutes on another day. Side note, before I continue, some exercises you'll use both. So like for an RDL, depending on how you perform the movement, that's a hamstring dominant exercise. But your glutes are working. So you can determine, based off of your level of soreness and where you're sore, where you're feeling the soreness, and kind of figure out adjust your volume from there. So let's say you have the 5 sets, quads, hamstrings, glutes, but you do your 3 sets of RDL, okay? Barbell RDL, and you're like, my hamstrings and my glutes are torn the shit up. Just lower the volume of glutes, or lower a little bit the volume of hamstrings that you have in terms of sets, right? You don't want to do more work than you have to do to make progress, and then go from there.
Like, so don't overdo it just because you feel like you have to get the exercises in.
No. So now you have your volume down. You figure out your reps that you want to do. Okay, so I'm gonna choose. What's happening on live?
Oh, just
hello.
Keep talking.
We're doing. I'm gonna pick. I want to do higher reps because I like the burn. I like how it feels. Whatever. I think that I get better results. My joints don't ache. So I'm gonna do 10 to 15 reps of everything. Perfect. Choose that and stick with it for the whole 6 to 8 weeks, and you can always switch it up from there. And then in terms of intensity, it's like, okay, maybe for the whole 6 to 8 weeks, let's not try to go RPE 10. Maybe like the last 2 weeks, you try to go RPE 10. And maybe the first 4 weeks, you try to stay in like an RPE 8 or maybe a 9. And then usually the middle 4 weeks, the first 2 weeks, you're probably just figuring out what the hell's going on and how to perform the movement right. So give yourself like a week or 2 buffer period. And that's kind of how to structure it overall, a lifting workout for somebody who is not necessarily a total beginner, little bit more of an intermediate, or like not a novice,
getting into
but
the
beginner.
Proper groove of where to place your lifts in a structured like training regimen. Yes. I would say
all of this to say though, those principles carry over to any program you write. It's all just volume, intensity, duration, rate of perceived exertion, frequency, all of that still applies. So, but now let's say you're programming for a sport or you're cross-training. You're programming with a sport also. So you like play baseball, but you also want to lift. You have to consider your volume from baseball, right? Like maybe don't smash your shoulders every workout, because if you're playing baseball, you're probably using your shoulders a lot. Especially if you're like a pitcher or a catcher. It's like you're throwing a shit ton.
Right.
Like especially on that, whichever side you're dominant. I'm going to say right because that's average. Your right shoulder is getting a lot of work to it. So when you come in the training room, this is how I do it with my athletes. I'm not going to kill your shoulders. Are we going to train your shoulders? Sure. Are we going to train all the muscles around your shoulders? Sure. But I'm not going to be like, overhead press, lateral raises, bench press, freaking.
Yeah, I'm probably going to lighten the load a little bit.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing, though, how to structure your training program is to sit for a long time and think about what your goals are.
And I would like to add, too, is that a lot of people tie in, like, how to how do I say this like without being an asshole? How to do your training program also ties into like, should I be doing this specific exercise? You know what I'm saying? Like people will say like, well, okay, legs, so I have to squat. No, you don't. Okay? Like you don't have to squat. You don't have to deadlift. You don't have to do anything specific if you, one, don't know how. Two, if you do it and you don't know how, so it hurts, right? And three, maybe you don't have somebody there, so you don't know properly how to do it. It's like, just because you see somebody else on the squat rack next to you does not mean you have to pick up that fucking barbell.
Unless you're a power lifter.
Right.
Then you're screwed. Yeah, you have to know.
Unless you have like specific goals for those reasons where you have to do those specific exercises. Or when you become more experienced than just picking up exercises to write a proper training routine, don't just fall into the trap of saying legs means curl, hammies, squat. Like, no, it doesn't. You know what I'm saying?
Curl, hammy, squat.
Hamstring curl, leg extension, squat. You know what I'm saying? You know what I meant.
Curl, hammy, squat.
Curl, hammy, squat. You know what I mean? Like ham curl, leg extension, squat. Like that does not mean
you can
legs.
fill your program.
You
can fill your program with the exercises however you want. I mean, for me, like I find the exercises that work really well for me in terms of hitting my quads. I love Smith squat. I love hack squat. I love when my feet. I do like a low foot on the platform leg press. I'll do leg extensions. All of those things are great. For my hamstrings, I like seated ham curl. I like pitch shark RDL. I like doing dumbbell RDL. You know, those things are fun. But those are me. You know, I know people who love like a lying ham curl. I don't get really shit out of a lying ham curl. I know people who love a standing ham curl. I hate standing ham curl. I've not been able to find my groove with it at all. You know, I know people who get smashed after walking lunges. I'm not a huge fan of walking lunges. I'll do walking lunges at the end of my training session.
I love walking lunges.
And I usually have to superset it with something to feel anything in my quads. I treat walking lunges, I program walking lunges in my training sessions, but for an entirely different reason. You know what I'm saying? So like different goals in mind. And that's another thing is you have to figure out, back to what I was saying, you have to figure out what your goals are, and you have to really sit with yourself and ask yourself, what do I want to do? Do I want to work on my aesthetics? Because if that's the case, then it's like, okay, I have to figure out what the best exercises are for me to smash my quads. I figure those out. I program them in my program. And then I apply all the principles we just talked about. Same thing with hamstrings. That same thing with chest. Same thing with back. Same thing with arms. You have to figure that out. If your goal is endurance, it's like, okay, I have to figure out how to program my training sessions so that I don't do so much that I hurt myself, I'm injured, and I can't run anymore, but I still want to be able to make progress and not be lazy. So you have to split up your training sessions and vary intensity throughout the week. For an endurance athlete, right? You're thinking about volume, frequency, intensity. It's like, okay, you just started running. Maybe don't run 5 times a week. You know? Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, did you?
Agreeing. I was just like, maybe. Sounds good.
No shit.
Yeah.
And then maybe run 2 or 3. And maybe don't try to run 5 miles. Maybe start with 1 or 2. You know, maybe break up your endurance so that you're still working on your endurance by doing half run, half bike. You know, so you're still training your heart, but you're not potentially breaking down the mechanics because your body's tired during the run. So then you're getting injured. So think about that in terms of volume and frequency. And then also intensity, vary how hard your workouts are. Maybe you do some hard sprint days. You're doing threshold work. Maybe you do a base day where you're going for a longer period of time, but you're working on keeping a lower heart rate. So you're raising that ceiling that you can go to so that when you go back to those hard threshold days, you reach a new ceiling. You hit higher intensities. And then maybe you have those mid days where you're just like, I'm just going to run a solid, pretty freaking tough, good pace. I'm going to try and keep this pace. 2-mile run, 3-mile run, 4-mile run. I don't know what your program is, but you have to keep all those principles in mind when you're structuring your program. For endurance athletes, duration is really important. And I think duration really ties into volume. It's how long you're going for. Because if you go too long, too quick, especially if you don't have your running form down solid. This happened with Tracey with your heel strike. You got
boy.
Achilles issues.
I got plantar fasciitis bad.
Okay, yeah, and so we had to change the duration of her runs. We had to have her more on the balls of her foot so that she was sprinting more, right? So we lowered the time that she was running for, increased the intensity that she was running for, and we tried to also change where she was running on. So instead of like cement, we tried to choose a better treadmill or the trail or grass.
Something with more give, yeah.
You could go run in the sand. So figuring out the duration and where you are running on as well, like the ground that you're actually running on for that duration is important to consider.
And I think like all this with saying, you know, like you go from beginner to intermediate and then maybe start to get into things that are a little bit more specific, and how you like plan out your training routine obviously will differ per your goals. And I tell this to people all the time, and I think it really gets lost. Like a lot of people will come in and they're like, I want to look a certain way. I want to do something specific, whatever. And that goal is such a far output goal that they lose the programming and they lose the sense of what they're actually supposed to be doing the right way, because they're not paying attention to those short-term goals that you can be hitting.
You're saying it's too vague.
Yeah, like it's too vague. Like maybe it might be good for you to pick smaller goals along the way so that way you can program specifically for them, instead of feeling so lost that you're just in that weird motion of you're coming into the gym, you're hitting the same exercises. Like if you're being consistent and you need to be progressing, but you're not seeing that progression, pick a smaller goal so that way you can tailor your exercises or your volume within what you're doing to be able to hit that small goal. And then you hit that goal, you create another one.
That's perfect.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that when you have a super vague or elusive long-term goal, it's harder to fit programming. It's harder to create programming that helps you reach that goal.
Yeah.
You have to, so instead of being like, I just want to look really good, you need to have something more specific. I want to lose 3% body fat in 3 months.
It doesn't even have to be that specific. Like shit, one time I had a client, I don't have her anymore, but she was one of those people that she came in, she's like, I want to lose 50 pounds. I'm like, okay, let's pick something that you can hit in 2 months, right? Okay, well, she wanted to play a soccer game with her kids. Okay, so let's do that. Let's get you to the point where you can feel good playing soccer with your little boy outside in your front yard.
Yeah.
We'll train around that idea, and, you know, with that will come losing some weight and body fat percentage and all of that. But that is such a vague output goal that could be a year from now, you know, or whatever it might be. Your overall goal can be so far away. Like pick something that's tangible that you can legitimately hit, whether you see it or whether it's internal, external, whatever. Just pick something.
It keeps you from quitting, and it keeps you from thinking that your program's not working.
Yeah.
So if your goal is to lose 50 pounds, if your goal is to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, if your goal is to run an ultra marathon, and you've just started, those are super long term, and you can do them, but you have to start somewhere, and you have to meet certain like landmarks before you get there. So when you design your program and when you're coming up with your program, it needs to be aligned with some goals that you can actually accomplish, because that's what happens is people have this program, they do it for 2 weeks, they are frustrated, they're pissed, they see no progress, and they give up. And so when you can write something up where, let's say you want to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, maybe it's like, I want to put now, instead of saying I want to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, it's I want to add 1/2 inch to my quads.
Yep.
Okay. You do the program, and 4 weeks later, especially if you're a newbie, you add maybe 3/4 inch to your quads. And it's like, hell yeah, this thing is working. And it makes you feel inspired to trust yourself, trust the process, and continue going, continue working on programming, continue experimenting with yourself and figuring out what's working for you and what's not working for you. But the biggest thing with how to design a program is design something and just do it for a little while, because you will find the errors. Like you will find when you are 4 weeks in and your quads aren't sore at all, like you felt nothing in your quads, that maybe you need to choose some exercises that fatigue your quads more. You need to go a little harder on those exercises. Maybe you need to increase the volume a little bit more. You need to increase the amount of sets around the quads, keep the glutes and hammies back or keep them the same. Maybe if it's running, it's like you're realigning, you're reevaluating. Okay, my ankle's hurting. That was too much of a run. So now I need to split up the run with the bike, or I need to decrease the frequency of the run from 3 times a week to 2 times a week. Or I can do the short, hard, intense ones, but I can't do the longer runs. So I'm going to have one extra hard day and take back one of my long days.
Yep.
But that's what you have to experiment with during your own training sessions. That's what trainers do. We just do it well because we've done it for a while and we've done it with many, many clients. And so we can figure out
sometimes the people that are there so you don't have to think.
We're right. And we're better usually at guessing where you are, where you need to go, what you're capable of. We're usually a little bit better at understanding the underlying concepts of all of this. And we have a better idea of what's working and what's not and how to adapt. And so that's why I think good trainers are really, really, really good at what they do because they understand that very well. They understand all of the little minutia of what's going on and they can adapt very quickly.
Yeah, and they can also see one of the things I was going to mention, because you said this before, like making a program, it's so sad. Like we're getting into the end of the year, right? Which is just so weird. First of all, like what the fuck? It's September 7th. Like what happened in summer? But you're getting into that point where it's like people are going to start to tailor off because, Thanksgiving or Halloween, Thanksgiving, like all of the, everything's going to come around. Holidays are going to come around. And then all of a sudden people get into the gym and they have that like long-term goal. And like you said, like just stick with it. Like imagine... I think what is a drop-off rate? It's something crazy. Like 80% of people that start the gym at the new year tailor off.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, if you just would have fucking stuck with what you were doing.
Yeah.
For like 2 more weeks.
Right. You probably would have built a habit.
You would have been here with us watching our podcast. You would have been here with us watching our freaking podcast, talking the shit, learning how to program. Like if you were just to stick with what you were doing or like... Don't get bored with it. Reinvent your wheel. Go back to the beginning. Find a trainer. Find an experienced trainer that can do all those small things for you and notice like when you start to trail off mentally and they'll pull you back in or like give you something different to do or they'll constantly be on your program so you don't have to think. Like just imagine how many more people would be in the gym if they didn't just be like, oh, I'm just going to get in the gym and lose 50 pounds and then they just quit. It's so sad.
Yeah, it's really sad. I think that it's hard for people to believe that what they're doing is doing something, especially when other areas of their life are failing. Part of a program is what are you doing outside of your program that's helping or not helping your program? What are you eating? Who are you hanging with?
Remember the stilts?
How are you sleeping?
What was it called? The stilts?
The stilts, the beach house model.
The stilts are your beach house model.
Yeah, there you go. Tracey. Damn.
Things come full circle.
Yeah, she's coming in. Oh. But, what was I saying?
I don't remember. I just totally threw you off.
Oh, part of it is you have to figure out what you're doing outside of your program that's either aiding or hurting the program that you have written. And so make sure that you are doing things to help you get better. And because when you're hurting what you're doing in the gym, it's a lot easier to say, fuck it, I'm done and quit. Because if people don't have it all together for some reason, they think that they need to get rid of it. Like if they don't have every piece of the puzzle good to go, then the puzzle's just pointless. And that's not necessarily the case. It's like, how about you just leave the puzzle as it is, unfinished, and keep going, take a break, and then keep putting the pieces back together like they're supposed to, and then finish it.
That was really good. It's like I can see you like thinking about how good of an analogy that was while you were saying it.
I was thinking, I was like, this analogy is falling apart as I'm speaking.
I thought it was great. But you were like, but your eyes were like, I know what I'm saying is good, but I don't know if it's coming out the way I want it to. But like this mentally is a really good analogy.
You've lost me. I have no idea what's coming out of my mouth. Okay.
The beach house model and the puzzle model, we'll call it.
I'm creating
the unfinished puzzle.
And I got the target to the target.
Damn.
Dude, I got the models.
Abigail's speaking fucking facts today. This is like Abigail's prime cast. And before we started this, she was like, oh my God, this is going to be so boring. And then here we are. We're like an hour in and Abigail's just...
Are we an hour in? Oh my God, I didn't even know we were an hour in. Dude, I'm telling you, I go on this thing and I lose myself.
I know, you're about to confuse everybody.
I know. I hope that made sense, you guys. I hope that made an iota of some sense. It is complicated. It's complicated, but it's not. It's like, again, bringing it back to where we started. It was just do something because, like, both of us got pretty freaking jacked doing clueless, not knowing what we were doing and just doing it consistently and pretty hard.
Movement.
Right. So that's the real ultimate point of what we're talking about. If you're trying to level up, hopefully the things that Tracey and I spoke about in this podcast made some sense. And then also, if you're really confused, get a trainer. It's a good investment.
We are more than happy to help.
Yeah. Hire me.
We are personal trainers too on the side of this chaotic podcast. So if you need some help, let us know.
Yeah. We are personal trainers. We don't just podcast.
Yeah, we don't just talk about random bullshit. We do know what we're talking about.
We have jobs. I spend literally all of my life doing this.
Yeah.
Studying and training and reading.
Yeah.
And then experimenting on myself. And then talking about it on podcasts.
And then experimenting on me. and then putting it on the podcast.
Yeah.
Just missed that little part right there.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Hey, it has been working out for you, bitch. It's been working out for you.
I'm just joking. I don't think that'll confuse people. I think people will get it. But if they are very confused, don't hesitate to reach out or like comment on the video or do a little something because it's literally us running the whole show back here. So if you are super confused, like let us know.
Yeah, we check the YouTube. We check all of the stuff that you guys like leave us. I check the ratings. You guys leave a rating. I'm like, we got another one. So like we pay attention to all of that. So we see the comments. So if you guys like our videos, if you comment on our videos, we will respond. We see the likes. We see the subscribes. They mean a lot to us.
It's not a bot.
No, it's not a bot. What if there's a bot that comes out there?
No, they will not take over our shit and work too hard for this.
And then we see all the stuff on the Instagram. I'm trying to think of where else we're at. We're on TikTok too. She runs a TikTok, so she sees all the stuff on the TikTok. I see all the stuff on the Instagram.
Yeah, don't be afraid to ask for help either.
And then we have Instagrams.
Especially when it comes to programming. Like, that's our jam. That's our jobs. We want to help. So even though, a little bit of FitTalk is necessary in the podcast and we're having fun, like don't hesitate to reach out or be like, hey, you said something in podcast and now it was super fucking confusing. Let us know. One of us will answer. Promise. You know what I mean?
Yo, side note before we go. Today I trained a really young girl. She's 11. Cutest thing.
11?
Yeah.
At the gym?
Yeah. She can train with me.
Oh. Wow.
I think. We might have to run this. We might have to cut this out. I don't know. I think she's allowed to train with me if she's with somebody like an actual certified trainer.
Oh. Sure. I thought it was 13. Did she sign a liability form?
Yeah.
Drew.
Is this allowed?
Huh?
Can we talk
Can
about
you hear that? Is it 13 or is it?
I think it's 14, but that's when you're allowed to work out in the gym.
On the floor?
Yeah, I think with a trainer you can work out before that. Fuck, we might have to cut this out.
We may or may not get fired. No, I'm just kidding. We totally.
Okay, I'm gonna refrain from telling my story in case we have to cut it out.
Go ahead. Tell the fucking story.
Okay, well,
What's he gonna do? What are you gonna do? Fire me? No,
he might. I don't know what I just said. Sounded like Joe Biden there for a second. Student loans.
That video had me fucking dying.
That was so good.
Oh
okay.
God.
Oh, poor Joe. He needs to go to sleep. He's tired.
I'll
okay.
take a nap in a couple
So I was
years.
training this 11-year-old girl. Jesus Christ. And it was really cool to see kind of, I don't want to say where the human body starts, but kind of where like basic proprioception begins to happen. You know, like you begin to watch their body real time, figure out where it is in space.
Yeah.
And
like they're little Bambis.
yeah, and you see them and it's like body weight.
Yeah,
like,
love
I don't
training
remember
kids.
the days of like, I don't remember the days of where body weight was tough for me because I was in gymnastics and dance. So proprioception was something that I had
It, like,
kind
came.
of in my brain from when I was a very, very little kid. And so seeing that with her, she did great. She did incredible. But it was just really cool to look and be like, oh, wow. Like, this is the human body figuring out what it's doing right now. This is fascinating. And so, I mean, the whole session was pretty much just body weight work, but she's figuring out how to move in space. And I'm watching her improve so quickly, too, because young kids, they learn it so fast.
Yeah.
You know, especially young kids that have a propensity for athleticism. They learn it so quick. And so I'm seeing the progression of like a body weight squat or a single leg RDL or a lunge, you know, just within 3 sets get rapidly better.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
I love training
in
kids.
an hour, you know, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, that's freaking cool. So that's also, I guess, a good tied into the programming thing. It's like, figure out what your body's even capable of doing, you know, because you're gonna learn things about your body and what you can do. Mm-hmm. And it's like, enjoy it. It's so fascinating. It might just be fascinating because we're trainers, so we're nerds, but it's really cool.
No, but that even applies to people, like, not to get off on a small other tangent, but just real quick, like, that even applies to people that are already gym goers. Oh, what the fuck you call it? Like, advanced gym goers. I don't know what the fuck. People are already in the gym. Okay, so like the other day, or I was just talking to this. Hey, Donald,
Seasoned lifters.
Seasoned lifters, sure. Okay.
I don't know.
No, this is so random, but I was having a conversation with Donald about Donald and Susie's programming. They're 2 people that are in the gym, super cool people. I'm sure he'll be watching this. He's always the first person to comment, shout out.
Las Vegas.
And after I had the conversation with him, I was thinking to myself about this, and I was like, it would be really funny if I told him to do something on one leg, because he was talking about changing up his programming. He's getting into more endurance training, long story short, whatever. And I was like, it would be kind of really funny if I told him to do some balance work, because you would be so surprised of the amount of people that are in here that have no fucking balance or mobility at all. Like, any of that shit, they just kind of like, it goes away, and then all of a sudden they want to do something like endurance training and they want to run, and they're like, holy fuck, my hips, knees, and ankles don't know what the fuck is going on, and then they end up getting hurt and like all this stuff. And I was just thinking about it myself, like, it's even surprising that people that are seasoned lifters, you put
she
them
had 100% activity level.
Woo!
Sorry, continue.
You put them in an uncomfortable position of something that they're not used to, and you'd be very surprised how backtracked you get because it's something that you haven't paid attention to in your programming.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
I think that, it was so funny. I tried to have them do some unilateral exercise, and they were tripping out. They were like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you guys are runners. Like, you guys should be doing unilateral stuff.
Mm-hmm. Like, sometimes
at least
Barry
like
and I
one
will
thing.
specifically throw our people out. We'll be like, okay, go run a half a mile, come back, and stand on this Bosu ball with one leg for 30 seconds at a time.
Okay, I hate the Bosu
But,
balls, but you guys
dude,
have fun with that
oh my
shit.
God. Listen, it's like, you don't, especially, well, because of the races that we do, you know, especially like being able to be on one side versus the other at one time, whatever. But you're also like, why putting yourself in that type of uncomfortable position when you think that you're so seasoned what you're doing, and then you realize that you're really not, you know what I'm saying? Like, throws people for a loop.
Just doing anything that you thought you reached that level. And you
you're
get
like, damn,
thrown,
I'm pretty good. And then you throw somebody on one leg and you're like, no, I'm not.
I'm falling over. I'm going side. I'm
like,
going
what
left.
Is this? What is balance? What is this mess? Okay, what else? Nothing else? I think you hit everything. That was
I love how you said you hit it. You were here too.
I was here, but
you contributed
that's
great.
Her fucking jam, bro.
This is my jam.
That's her jam.
Shit.
That's her jam.
Shit.
I think we covered everything. Sorry if we confused the shit out of you. That was fun.
Was that good?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, we'll see you next week. I think we're gonna do a fun episode next week. I don't know what it is. I want to do a podcast blindfolded.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why that's important or why it matters, but I feel like it would be interesting.
I don't know. We want to do a Q&A, and we're also gonna have Anthony on the podcast.
And we're saying that so that
weeks.
if you ditch us, Anthony,
yeah,
then you'll be held accountable.
Anthony is super rad. He used to work for Cadence. He is going into ultra marathons.
This Saturday.
Yeah, he's got a 50 miler this Saturday, which is pretty awesome.
Crazy.
Once you see this podcast, he would have already ran it. So maybe we'll tap into that podcast when he hops on in a couple weeks. But he knows everything about, nutrition, getting into the ultra space, shoes, what to wear, all
Super
that fun
sneaker
stuff.
dude when it comes to running shoes. So
Yeah, super knowledgeable guy, and he's funny as shit. So we'll have
he's
him around.
coming on here soon.
Woo, 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 woo.
Thanks for listening to BarTalk.
Number 8, folks.
Howdy.
See you later.
Hello?